Mom and Dad secretly used my name on my brother's $320,000 house loan. So I did something that made them deal with the result they never thought would happen. I am a 31-year-old man who works as a machine engineer for a big oil company in Houston. I make about $165,000 plus extra money. I grew up in a middle-class family but worked very hard to get to where I am now. I got to go to Texas A&M College for free. I finished with top grades. I have been moving up in my job ever since. My family situation is complex. My dad used to work with electricity, but doesn't work anymore. My mom worked in a school office until she stopped working. They are good people, but they have one big weak spot. My younger brother, Danny. Danny is 27 and has not been able to stop betting since college. It began with fantasy football, then went to online poker, then sports betting, then trips to casinos in Louisiana every weekend. He can't walk by a lottery ticket without buying 5 of them. He has spent all the family money our grandparents left him, used up all his bank cards, and borrowed money from everyone who was not smart enough to say no. But here's the thing about people who can't stop betting. They are very good at tricking others. Danny could make you believe the sky is green if it would get him money for his next bet. I have seen him make up stories about investments that can't lose, secret tips from his betting friends, and detailed plans about counting cards that never worked. And our parents, they believed him every single time. He is doing better now. He is going to help meetings now. This time things are different. He just needs one more chance. I had heard all of this before. The pattern was always the same. Danny would lose a lot of money, come crying to mom and dad with some sad story about needing money for rent or car fixes. They would give him money, and within a week he would have spent it all on betting websites. Then the same thing would happen again. I remember one Christmas when Danny came with costly gifts for everyone. Fancy perfume for mom, a nice tool set for dad, expensive headphones for me. We found out he had won a lot of money on football bets and wanted to act like a giving son. 2 weeks later, he was asking to borrow money for food. That's why I moved to Houston after college and stayed away. I would send money home for mom's birthday or Christmas, but I learned quickly not to get involved in Danny's money problems. Every time I tried to help, the money just went to some online betting site or sports betting app. That was my biggest error. It was a Thursday morning, 8:15 a.m. I was in my truck going to a workplace when my phone rang, a number I didn't know with a local code. Usually I would let it go to my voicemail, but we had workers calling about a big job, so I answered it. Mr. Rodriguez, this is Patricia from First National Bank. I am calling about your home loan for the house at 1247 Oak Valley Lane. Your payment is 75 days late, and we need to talk about paying now to avoid the bank taking back the house. I stopped my car on the side of the road. Ma'am, I think you have the wrong number. I don't have a home loan with your bank. Sir, according to our papers, you signed to help pay for a $320,000 home loan in March of last year. The house is registered to Daniel Rodriguez, with you listed as the person who will pay if he doesn't. I got very scared. Danny, Oak Valley Lane was in the area where my parents lived, about 3 blocks from their house. I knew that street.
It was one of the new areas with houses costing about $300,000, much more than Danny could ever pay for, with his on and off pay from whatever small jobs he managed to keep for a few weeks at a time. Ma'am, I never signed to help pay for any loan. I have never even been to your bank. I understand why you're confused, Mr. Rodriguez, but we have all the papers here. Your signed name, your government ID number, proof of your job, papers showing your pay. The loan was approved because you showed you could pay back money as the person who promised to pay if he couldn't. This is lying to get money. I need you to email me every paper you have right now. She waited. Sir, I can't just email private money papers to someone without making sure who you are. Ma'am, if someone faked my signed name to get a $320,000 loan, this is a national crime. Either you email me those papers now or I'm calling the FBI, and your bank will be part of a crime investigation. That made her listen. Let me make sure who you are first, then I can send the papers. 10 minutes later, the papers arrived in my email. I sat in my truck in a Whataburger parking lot, looking at my phone in shock. There was my name printed clearly, Miguel Rodriguez, my government ID number, my job information, all correct. Company name, correct. Job title, correct pay, a signed name that looked just like mine. Even a copy of my driver's license, but I had never seen any of these papers before in my life. The home loan was for a house 3 blocks from my parents. The person getting the loan was listed as Daniel Rodriguez, my brother. The person who promised to pay if he couldn't was listed as me. The loan amount was $320,000 with a monthly payment of $2,387. The first payment had been $25,000. I looked through the job proof part. Someone had called my company's work office pretending to be a lone worker and confirmed my job, pay, and how long I had worked there. The papers looked completely real, but when I checked the signed name on my phone, it told a different story. The signed name looked similar, but how hard the pen was pressed was wrong. The way the M curved in Miguel was a little different. Someone had practiced my signed name, probably using examples from birthday cards or Christmas checks I had sent home over the years. I called work to say I was sick and drove right to my parents' house. This couldn't wait. I didn't call first. I just arrived at 11 a.m. with a folder full of printed bank papers and a recording app ready on my phone. Mom answered the door wearing her robe, looking surprised. "Miguel, what are you doing here? Why aren't you at work? We need to talk. Where is Dad? Where is Danny? Your father is in the garage fixing Mrs. Peterson's lawnmower. Danny is at work. Well, he said he had a job meeting this morning." Typical mom, always making excuses for Danny. A job meeting that probably didn't happen. "Get Dad now and call Danny. Tell him to come here right away." Mom's face turned white. She knew that voice. I had used it only twice before. Once when I caught Danny taking money from her purse for lottery tickets, and once when I found out Dad had been giving Danny money to pay for his betting losses. Dad came in from the garage wiping oil off his hands. "Miguel, what's happening? Son, you look like someone died." I spread the home loan papers across their kitchen table. The same table where we had family dinners for 20 years, where Dad had taught me to keep track of my money. "I need one of you to explain to me how Danny got a $320,000 home loan with me as the person who promised to pay when I never signed anything." The silence was very loud. Dad's face turned white. Mom sat down quickly,
her coffee cup shaking in her hands. "Miguel," Dad started, then stopped. Don't tell me the truth right now." Mom started crying. We didn't know what else to do. Danny was going to lose the house. The bank said he needed someone with better credit to promise to pay. "So you faked my signed name?" "We didn't fake anything," Dad said quickly. "We signed for you as your parents. We thought we could—" "You could, Dad? I am 31 years old." "You would have said no," Mom whispered. "You're right, I would have said no." That's when Danny walked in. He looked at the papers once and his face showed me everything. Not surprised, just giving up. This is about the house. "Yes, Danny, the $320,000 house that you bought using my good credit name without asking me." He shrugged and got a soda from the refrigerator like we were talking about the weather. "I was going to tell you sometime." "You were going to tell me that you lied to get money?" "It's not lying, man. We're family. Besides, I have been making the payments." He opened the soda with that same proud attitude he had since high school. I looked at the bank paper. "Danny, you are 75 days late." "That's just for now. I had some bad luck at the casino last month, but March Madness basketball games are coming, and I have this plan." "Bad luck at the casino?" "Danny, are you really telling me you're late on a home loan payment because you bet the money away?" Dad stepped in. "Miguel, you don't understand. Danny has this new plan for betting on sports. It's careful, based on science." "A plan for betting?" "Dad, not being able to stop betting is not a job." "It's not betting," Danny said in defense. "It's investing. I have been studying sports numbers and chance theory. I have made $12,000 this month alone." "If you made $12,000, why is the home loan late?" "Because I put the winnings back into betting. You have to think about the future, Miguel. I am saving money for bigger bets." I stared at my brother. He was completely serious. In his mind, he was some kind of money expert, not someone who can't stop betting, who just failed to pay on a lying home loan. "Danny, how much do you owe in betting debts right now?" He looked at Mom and Dad, then back at me. "Maybe about $30,000, but that's just short-term borrowing. Once my plan works, $30,000. "Miguel, please don't yell," Mom said. "The neighbors will hear." "Mom, I don't care about the neighbors. Your son owes $30,000 in betting debts, and he's not paying on a home loan that he lied to get in my name." "We'll find a way," Dad said. "Like always, no we won't. I'm calling the bank and telling them this was lying to get money." "You can't do that," Mom said, getting scared. "Danny could go to jail." "Good. Maybe that's exactly what should happen." Danny finally looked worried. "Miguel, come on, man. Family doesn't do that to family. Family doesn't lie to get money from family either." "Danny, look, I'll catch up on the payments. Just give me a couple months. I have this new plan for baseball season." I started putting the papers away. "Danny, you have been betting for 8 years. You have never had a plan that worked. You can't stop." "I'm not someone who can't stop. I'm an investor who has had some bad luck." Dad, I said, what if we helped with the payments? Your mother and I could get another home loan, use our retirement money. Dad, you don't work anymore and get the same money each month. You can't pay a $2,400 home loan payment. We'll find a way. I'm calling the bank tomorrow and telling them this was lying to get money.
Then I'm calling the police. Mom started crying more. Please don't send your brother to jail. Mom, Danny sent himself to jail the minute he faked my signed name. We faked your signed name, Dad said quietly. If anyone goes to jail, it should be us. I looked at my father, this man who had worked building things for 30 years, who taught me about being honest, who had never taken an easy way in his life. Dad, why? Why would you do this? Because he is our son, Miguel, and sometimes you do dumb things for your kids when you love them, even if it ruins your other son's life. Dad looked down at his hands. We thought you would never find out. I stood up and walked to the door. Where are you going? Mom asked. To get a lawyer and then to call the FBI. Miguel, please, Danny said, following me. Just give me one more chance. I will go to a place to get help, whatever you want. I turned around. Danny, how many one more chances have you had? How many times have Mom and Dad helped you out of trouble? This time is different. It's always different, Danny, but it's never really different. I walked out and drove home, but I didn't call the FBI that night. Instead, I stayed up until 3 a.m. reading about home loan lying, what happens when you promise to pay for someone, and what I could do legally. What I found out was going to change everything. The next morning, I called work to say I was sick again and drove to downtown Houston to meet with a lawyer who knew about money lying. The meeting cost me $400, but it was the best money I had ever spent. The lawyer's office was in one of those glass buildings downtown with fancy stone and wood and school papers on the wall. My lawyer was smart, in his 50s, wearing a costly suit, the kind of man who had probably sent some business criminals to national prison. Mr. Rodriguez, my lawyer said, after looking at all the papers, this is a perfect example of home loan lying. Your signed name was faked. Your pay was lied about without you saying it was okay, and you never said you would help pay. This is a national crime with serious punishments. What can I do? You can tell them it was lying and have the people in charge look into and take your family members to court. You will be taken off the loan and will not have to pay the debt by law. And if you don't tell them, then by law, you have to pay for a $320,000 home loan for a house you don't own, don't live in, and never wanted. If your brother doesn't pay, which he already hasn't, the bank can make you pay the whole amount plus extra money and interest. Can they take money from my pay? Yes, they can take your house, your car, make it so you can't use your bank money, ruin your good credit name. You would be financially ruined. With the money you make, they would probably take the most money the law allows until the debt is paid. I sat back in his leather chair and thought about it. What happens to my family if I tell them? Your parents and brother would probably face national crime accusations for planning together to lie about a home loan. We're talking about possible jail time, maybe 2 to 5 years each, depending on their past crimes and how much they help the people in charge. And the house, the bank would start taking back the house right away. Your brother would lose the house and probably still owe money if it sells for less than the loan amount. I thanked my lawyer and drove home to think. That evening,
I did something I hadn't done in years. I looked up Danny's betting history online. What I found made me feel sick. Danny had active accounts on at least 6 different online sports betting sites. His social media had many pictures of big wins. But if you looked closely at the dates and what was happening, the wins were always followed by posts about needing money for rent, car fixes, or other problems. I found a website where people talked about betting debts and plans for borrowing money. Danny had posted there using a name I knew from his old Xbox account, the same one he had used since high school. One post from 6 months ago said, "My brother makes good money, but he doesn't like giving money to family. How do I get him to help without asking directly? Need ideas?" Another post from 4 months ago, "Is it against the law if your parents promise to pay for you using someone else's name? Asking for a friend." And the most hurtful one from 2 months ago, "Got approved for big loan using family member's good credit name. Now I just need to keep making payments until I win big. What are the chances they find out?" He had been planning this for months. This was not being desperate or a moment of weakness. This was a carefully planned trick. That's when I realized this was not just not being able to stop. This was planned lying. Danny knew exactly what he was doing, and my parents had helped him do it. I made my choice. The next morning, I called Patricia at the bank again. Miss Patricia, this is Miguel Rodriguez. I called yesterday about the home loan lying. Yes, Mr. Rodriguez, have you had a chance to look at the papers? I have, and I need to tell them this is stealing someone's name and lying to get money. I never signed those papers, never asked for that loan, and never said anyone could use my name or private information. Sir, that is a very serious claim with important legal results. Yes, it is. I need to know what your bank does when someone tells you about this kind of lying. Well, we would need to start our own inside investigation. You would need to fill out an official lying report with us and with the police. We would also need to involve our law people and possibly national people in charge. What happens to the current loan during the investigation? The account would be frozen right away while waiting for the investigation results. And what happens to the person who got the loan, my brother? If lying is proven, the loan would be canceled. The house would be taken back by the bank right away. I understand. I would like to fill out that lying report today. Mr. Rodriguez, I have to ask, are you completely sure about this? These kinds of investigations can have serious results for everyone involved, including possible crime accusations. Ma'am, someone used my name to get a $320,000 loan without me knowing or saying it was okay. Those are already serious results for me. I understand. Can you come in this afternoon with all the important papers? I will be there at 2 p.m. But before I went to the bank, I decided to see my family one more time. I wanted to give them a chance to tell the truth themselves. Maybe if they said what they did and showed they were truly sorry, I would think about dealing with this differently. I found Dad in the garage,
Mom in the kitchen, and Danny on the couch playing video games like nothing had happened. I'm going to the bank this afternoon to fill out a lying report, I said. Danny stopped his game and looked up. You're really going to do this? Yes, even though it will ruin the whole family? Danny, you ruined the family when you lied to get money using my name. It wasn't supposed to be lying. It was supposed to be for a short time, just until I could get my money situation fixed. How was stealing my name supposed to be for a short time? Mom came out of the kitchen, rubbing her hands with that worried look she had my whole childhood whenever one of us was in trouble. Miguel, what if we all went to the bank together, explained what happened, maybe they would help us as a family? Mom, the situation is that you committed a national crime. But we are family, Dad said, coming from the garage. Families solve problems together. Dad, if I don't tell them about this, I have to pay for Danny's home loan forever. If he stops paying, and he already has, they can take everything I own to pay the debt. We won't let that happen, Mom said in a scared voice. How, Mom? You're going to pay a $2,400 home loan every month with your retirement money? We'll find a way. Maybe we can get a new loan on this house, borrow money using our life insurance. With what money? Danny owes $30,000 in betting debts right now. How is he going to make home loan payments when he can't even pay the people he bets with? Danny stood up from the couch, finally looking serious. I told you I have a plan now. I'm going to win that money back and catch up on payments. Danny, you have been betting for 8 years. When have you ever won money back for a long time? This time is different. I have been studying the chances, learning from my mistakes. It's never different, Danny. You can't stop. You need expert help. I don't need help. I need my family to support me instead of trying to ruin me. Support you, Danny? I have been supporting you for years. I have given this family over $25,000 over the past 5 years because you kept betting away your rent money and car payments. That was different. How was it different? Because you gave that money because you wanted to, and now you have taken $320,000 without asking. It's not the same thing. I looked around the room at these 3 people who had raised me, who had taught me what's right and what's wrong, who had somehow made themselves believe that stealing my name was okay because it was for family. I'm going to the bank, I said. I'm filling out the lying report, then I'm calling the FBI. Miguel, Mom said, please. What if Danny pays back the late payments? What if he gets help for the betting? Mom, it's too late for that. It's never too late for family. You're right, Mom. It's never too late for family. That's why you should have thought about family before you stole from me. As I walked to my truck, Danny followed me outside. Miguel, wait, let me ask you something. What? How much money do you get to keep each month, after taxes and everything? Why does that matter? Just tell me. About $8,500. And how much do you spend every month on things you need? I don't know, maybe $4,000? So you're saving about $4,500 every month. Denny, what are you trying to say? What I'm saying is, $2,400 a month for this home loan is nothing to you. You spend more than that on your truck payment and insurance. I stared at him in shock. Danny, are you really asking me to pay for a house that you bought by stealing my name? I'm asking you to help your brother who made a mistake.
A mistake? Danny, you didn't sign my name by accident. You planned this for months. I found your online posts. Okay, fine, but I'm still your brother. No, Danny, brothers don't steal from each other. You're just someone who can't stop betting who happens to have my last name. That afternoon, I walked into First National Bank with a folder full of proof and a recording device in my pocket. Patricia met me in a meeting room with two other bank workers, a manager and someone from their law department. Mr. Rodriguez, Patricia said, we're glad you came in to talk about what happened. Before we start, I said, I want to make sure we all understand what we're talking about. Someone used my name to lie to get a $320,000 home loan. This is a national crime. The law person nodded. Seriously, we understand how serious the claim is. Good. I have brought complete papers proving that I never asked for this loan, never signed these papers, and never said anyone could use my name or private information. I opened my folder and started showing proof one by one. My detailed work schedule showing I was at a workplace in Louisiana the day the loan was supposedly signed. An expert signed name check I paid $800 for, showing the signed names didn't match my real ones. Pictures from Danny's social media showing him bragging about his new house and posting pictures of the keys. Bank records showing the first payment came from my parents' savings account, not Danny's. Printed copies of Danny's online website posts talking about the lying plan. This is very complete, the manager said, looking more and more uncomfortable. I am an engineer. I believe in having the right papers and proof. Mr. Rodriguez, the law person said, if we find that lying happened, what result do you want? I want my name taken off this loan right away. I want it reported to the right people in charge as lying, and I want to make sure this can never happen to me or anyone else again. We can certainly take your name off the loan if lying is proven, but you understand this would start the bank taking back the house right away. I understand. And your brother would lose the house. I understand. And your family would probably face serious crime accusations. I understand that too. Patricia leaned forward. Mr. Rodriguez, this seems like a family problem that went too far. Are you sure you want to take this as far as the law allows? That's when I gave them the answer that left them unable to speak. Let me tell you what I'm sure about, I said, looking each of them right in the eye. I am sure that my brother is someone who can't stop betting, who has step by step ruined his good credit name by betting away every dollar he has ever earned. I am sure that my parents helped him lie to get money because they are people who make it possible for him to keep betting by covering up his problem for years instead of getting him real help. I am sure that if I don't tell them about this crime, I will have to pay for a home loan on a house I will never live in, for a debt I never said I would take on. I stopped and took out my phone. But here is what I'm most sure about. 3 hours ago, I called the FBI's Money Crimes Department and filled out an official complaint. Special Agent Williams is expecting your call within 24 hours. The room became completely quiet. You could hear the air conditioning making noise. I also called the Texas Department of Banking and made a complaint about your bank's lending ways. How exactly does a trusted money place approve a $320,000 home loan without properly checking that the person who promised to pay actually signed the papers? The manager's face turned white. And one more thing, I continued calmly. I called the main lawyer's office and talked with the lawyer who takes care of home loan line cases.
They are very interested in this case, especially the part where my brother posted about his plans on social media 6 months before doing the actual lying. I stood up and closed my folder. So yes, I am completely sure I want to take this as far as possible, because the only thing worse than being the hurt person in a crime is being the hurt person in a crime and doing nothing about it. The law person finally spoke. Mr. Rodriguez, we will need to do our own investigation. No, you don't understand. The investigation is already happening. The FBI will be here Monday morning with national legal permission papers for all loan papers, security camera videos, and employee talks. I'm not here to start an investigation. I'm here to tell you that you are already part of one. I walked to the door, then turned back. Oh, and one more thing. When you call my brother to tell him about the bank taking back the house, you might want to mention that his internet search history is part of the national investigation. It seems looking up how to fake signed names and home loan lying punishments was not very smart.
The manager stood up quickly. "Mr. Rodriguez, surely we can find a solution." The time for finding a solution was before your bank approved a lying loan. Now you get to find a solution with national investigators. I walked out of that bank feeling better than I had in weeks, but the real good feeling was still coming. The FBI worked faster than I expected. By Wednesday of the next week, they had used legal permission papers to search my parents' house, Danny's house, and the bank's records. What they found was much worse than I had thought. Danny had not just lied about a home loan. He had been running a step-by-step plan for over a year. They found faked papers with my signed name on 3 different loan applications at different banks. Many fake pay papers showing me making $200,000 per year at a company that didn't exist. Pictures from my social media that he had been using to prove my way of life matched the pay claims. Detailed text message talks between him and my parents, planning the lying step by step. Internet search history, including how long before home loan lying is found out, and can family members take each other to court. A handwritten notebook with my private information and practice signed names. But the most hurtful proof was what they found on Danny's computer. A detailed Excel spreadsheet keeping track of his betting losses over the past 2 years. Total amount, $127,000. The home loan was not his first lying. It was just the biggest one. He had been using my name for smaller tricks for months. My parents were arrested on Thursday morning at 6 a.m. Danny was arrested Friday afternoon at a casino in Louisiana, where he had gone to win back the home loan money. All 3 were accused of planning together to lie about a home loan, stealing someone's name, and computer money lying. The local news reported the story. Houston family arrested for $320,000 home loan lying plan. My phone started ringing all the time. Relatives, family, friends, people from the old neighborhood, even some of my coworkers who had seen the news. Half of them were mad at me for ruining the family. The other half were shocked that my parents and Danny had done something so very dumb. My uncle Carlos called me on Saturday morning, his voice shaking with anger. "Miguel, what is happening? Your parents are in jail. They lied to get money."
Uncle Carlos, they used my name to get Danny a home loan without my permission. But they're your parents, man. Family doesn't do this to family. Family doesn't steal from family either. Can't you just drop the accusations? Solve this privately. I can't drop national accusations. That's not how the law system works. But you could have chosen not to tell them about it in the first place. Uncle Carlos, if I hadn't told them about it, I would have to pay for a $320,000 debt for a house I don't own. They would have completely ruined my money life. Your parents would never let that happen to you. My parents already let it happen when they lied to get money in the first place. That afternoon, my mom's sister called me crying very hard. "Miguel, your mother is heartbroken. She is in jail because of you." "Aunt Maria, she is in jail because she committed a crime. She was just trying to help Danny get his life fixed by stealing from me. You make good money. You could afford to help your brother." "I do help my brother. I have given this family $25,000 over the past 5 years. But this wasn't asking for help. This was stealing. It's still family." "No, Aunt Maria. Family asks for help when they need it. Criminals steal what they want and hope they don't get caught." By Monday, the bank had officially started taking back Danny's house. The local newspaper ran another story about the family home loan lying plan that included talks with neighbors saying they had always wondered how Danny could afford such a nice house without a regular job. Tuesday morning, I got a call from the county jail. Danny wanted to talk. "Miguel, man, please, you have to help me here." "Help you? How?" "Tell them this was all a mix-up, that you knew about the loan but forgot about it." "Danny, that would be lying in court. I would go to jail too." "Come on, man, we are brothers. Brothers don't steal from each other." "I was going to pay it back sometime." "With what money? You owe $127,000 in betting debts." "How do you know that exact amount?" "The FBI found your spreadsheet, Danny. They know everything about your betting losses, your debts, your plans, everything." "Miguel, please, I will go to a place to get help. I will get better. I will pay you back every penny." "How are you going to pay me back from national prison?" "Prison? They said I might get watched freedom if you don't ask for the most serious punishment." "Danny, you committed national lying. You are going to national prison." "For how long?" "My lawyer says probably 3 to 5 years. Mom and Dad might get 2 to 3 years each." The phone was quiet for a long time. "Miguel, you're really going to let your own parents go to prison?" "Danny, our parents are going to prison because they chose to commit crimes. I didn't make that choice for them. But you could fix this if you wanted to."
No, Danny, the only person who could have fixed this was you by not betting away money you didn't have and not stealing my name to get more money to bet away. What am I supposed to do now? Serve your jail time, get better, and never contact me again. I hung up. The court meetings for admitting guilt were planned for 6 months later. My parents' lawyer contacted my lawyer about a possible agreement. They would say they were guilty to national lying accusations if I agreed not to ask for money in court. My answer was simple: no agreement. At the court meeting, all three of them said they were guilty to national lying accusations. The judge didn't feel sorry for their situation. Mr. and Mrs. Rodriguez, he said to my parents, you broke the basic trust of your own son to make it possible for your other son to keep betting. Instead of getting him expert help, you chose to commit serious crimes. You were each given 18 months in national prison, followed by 2 years of watched freedom. Mr. Daniel Rodriguez, you step-by-step lied to money places and stole your brother's name to get money for your betting. Your actions could have ruined your brother's money future. You are given 4 years in national prison, followed by 3 years of watched freedom. As they were led away with handcuffs,
Mom looked at me one last time. She mouthed the words, "I am sorry." I nodded to show I heard, but I didn't forgive her. After the sentencing, the bank contacted me about the house they took back. Mr. Rodriguez, we understand this situation has been hard for your family. If you're interested, we would be willing to sell you the house at a much lower price. The house was valued at $320,000. They offered it to me for $240,000. I offered $210,000 cash. Close in 30 days. They said yes right away. A month later, I owned Danny's house. I spent $15,000 fixing it up. New carpet, fresh paint, new machines. Then I rented it out for $2,800 per month to a nice family with very good credit. But that's not the end of the story. 8 months into their jail time, Mom called me from national prison. "Miguel, please, I need help with my jail store account. Everything here is so expensive and the food is terrible." "How much do you need?" "Just $100 for basic things like good soap and toothpaste." "Mom, do you remember what you told me when I asked why you didn't just ask me for help instead of lying to get money?" "What do you mean?" "You said I would have said no, that I was too selfish to help family in need." "Miguel, I was wrong. I was desperate and scared and wrong." "You were right, Mom. If Danny had asked me to promise to pay for a home loan so he could bet away more money, I would have said no. But this is different. This is just basic things needed to live." "No, Mom, this is results. You chose to steal from me instead of asking for help. Now you get to live with the results of that choice." "Miguel, please, I am your mother. My mother wouldn't have stolen my name to make it possible for my brother to keep betting." I hung up. Dad called 2 weeks later. "Son, your mother's having a really hard time in there. The other people in jail are tough, and she is scared. Can't you help her just a little?" "Dad, you taught me that actions have results. You taught me that stealing is wrong. You taught me to take responsibility for my mistakes." "I know, but then take responsibility for yours." "Miguel, we are still family." "Dad, we stopped being family when you chose Danny's betting over my money. Safety." "What if we pay you back when we get out? Every penny." "With what money?" "You got a home loan on your house to pay for Danny's law costs. We'll find a way. Get jobs, sell things." "No, Dad, you will find a way. I'm done finding ways for this family." Danny called me last month from prison. "Miguel, I have stopped betting for 18 months now. I am going to meetings for people who can't stop betting every day. I am a completely different person." "Good for you. I want to make things right. I want to pay you back for everything I cost you. How much do you think you owe me?" "I don't know. Maybe $50,000 for the trouble and law costs?" "Danny, you cost me $15,000 in lawyer fees, $5,000 in expert money checking and investigation costs, and about 200 hours of my time dealing with this mess, plus emotional hurt and the stress you put me through. How much is that total?" My lawyer calculated it at $127,000, the exact amount you lost betting over 2 years. "I don't have that kind of money." "I know. That's why I bought your house." "You bought my house?" "Yes. Got it for $210,000 at the bank taking back the house sale. Put $15,000 into fixing it up. It's worth about $340,000 now. You're making money from my house. I'm making money from the house you bought with my stolen name. The house you lost because you couldn't stop betting long enough to make the payments. That's wrong, man." "Danny, you want to know what's wrong?"
What's wrong is someone who can't stop betting, stealing his brother's name to buy a house, then losing it because he bet the home loan payments on fantasy football. I'm not that person anymore. Prove it. Stop betting for 5 years. Get a real job when you get out, pay your own bills, then maybe we can talk. And until then, enjoy the 3 more years you have left in national prison. Yesterday, I got my monthly rent check from Danny's old house, $2,800. I have collected over $30,000 in rent so far. The house has increased in value to $350,000. My total money from their lying, about $250,000 so far. Sometimes people ask me if I regret taking my own family to court, if I think I was too strict or not forgiving. The answer is definitely not. They didn't think of me as family when they stole from me. They thought of me as a place to get money, someone whose good credit name and identity they could use to solve Danny's betting problems without results. They were wrong about the results. Every month when I put that rent check in the bank, I remember something important. People who make it possible for others to keep doing bad things only exist when the people they hurt let them. I didn't let them. And now they get to live with the results while I make money from their crimes. Justice is not just about punishment. Sometimes it's about using your attacker's weapons against them. They used my name to lie to get money. I used their lying to build money.